السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربنا افرغ علينا صبرا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. ربنا افرغ علينا صبرا وتوفنا مسلمين. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا. رب لا تذرني فردا وأنت خير الوارثين. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير. غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير. حسبنا الله لا إله إلا أنت عليك توكلنا وأنت رب العرش العظيم. وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. آمين يا رب العالمين. آمين.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Thank you very much for coming. Inshallah, today we will continue reading from the 10th word. We're reading from the book The Words on page 126. Just as a reminder or a refresher, last time we spoke about the question of how will the resurrection, how can we believe that the resurrection is going to happen? And how can we believe in the events that the Quran is suggesting? And why is the Quran speaking of, the resurrection and the day of judgment in phrases like a single cry or a glance of an eye? So today we will be reading the third matter. The author was trying to answer the question in three parts. The first part, he was giving us an analogy of how the spirits will be returned. And then the second part was about how will life come back to body. And the third matter is about, well, how will our bodies be remade? So let's start reading together, and at any point, if you feel like we need to pause or anything, please let me know. The third matter, an example for the remaking of bodies instantaneously is the perfect remaking within a few days of all the trees in the spring, which are far more numerous than all humanity, together with all their leaves, in exactly the same way as those of the previous spring. And the bringing into being, again, like those of previous springs, all the blossoms, fruits, and leaves of the trees, with the speed of lightning and the sudden awakening of the uncountable numbers of seeds, grains, and roots, which are the source of the spring, and their unfolding and being raised to life. I'll take a pause here. So far, he's talking about the spring and the details about the spring. And he's sort of, asking me, the reader, notice how the spring is happening. Notice how the things in the spring are disappearing and then coming again. Just notice that. And then we're going to continue with this analogy. Right. And then he says, and reflecting the meaning of resurrection after death, the sudden raising to life, at a command of the upright, skeleton-like corpses of the trees, and the reanimation of the innumerable members of all species of small animals, and the revivification of all the sorts of flying insects, particularly those which continually cleaning their faces, eyes, and wings, remind us of our ablutions and cleanliness, and caress our faces, the resurrection and remaking of all the members of this tribe, within a few days every spring before our very eyes, together with all the other species, despite being greater in number than all mankind since the time of Adam, provides not one example of the remaking of all human bodies at the resurrection, but thousands. Okay, so what does the spring have to do with resurrection? So my understanding is he's asking me to sort of notice the details of the season, the spring, and the complexity of every little item or object within the season, including all the insects and the animals. And then he's likening this sort of spring that, okay, well, it was previous spring that everything had life. It was previous spring that everything looked spring-like and existed in a spring-like fashion. But then it came again in the next spring as well, when he says, it's the perfect remaking within a few days of all the trees in the spring. So it feels as though he's comparing that remaking of the spring to the remaking of the body. If we think about the body, it looks like it's an object, and it's it's complex. It has a lot of details, but it is easy to imagine that it can be remade, or it's easy to believe that it can be remade, just the way we saw how spring can be remade over and over again. Does anybody see anything else in the paragraph? I'm so sorry, you guys cannot see the whole paragraph on the screen. But yeah, does anybody feel like there is something we should pause on and reflect? Go ahead, Brother Adam.
This is a silent listeners room. Okay. What apart from what you said, the importance of the example of spring presented to us in order to understand that the one who creates this world and presents his ability during the spring, that he can create again the same kind of things or beings or similar. Why not? After the death of human beings, he wouldn't be able to create the dead bodies and make another creation of human beings again, preserving them, their real personality, if you like. because human beings have individual personality. Each human being has its individual personality. We don't know, but we are guessing from our observations that the other creatures do not have individual personality, something. Yes, they are created individually, but they don't have, as far as we can see, like human beings, the spirit, which really encompasses each human being, has a view of the universe from his own perspective within own capacity. So that is consciousness. That is why human beings need to be recreated as individuals. But the body may change, as my body changes in this world as well. In my creation, we can see the stages of my existence from my babyhood until my old age, and from my birth to my death. I am experiencing everything individually. So if my feelings necessitate that or inform me that of my permanent existence and desire for it, then I personally must be resurrected individually as I am. But some details are important here. The author is not only mentioning that the example of spring, but what we see in this, during the spring, which kind of creation is taking place. First, the first line, it says, remaking of bodies instantaneously. Yeah, this word is instantaneously is very important. It means without any time intervenes. Immediately, there is no time, although the text says with the speed of lightning. Even the speed of lightning takes some time. It is not what we observe in this world, because, for example, if the lightning happens miles away, it happens, for example, I see it a few seconds, maybe milliseconds later, not exactly. That is what we know from the speed of light coming from the sun to the earth takes 8 minutes. It's a long time. For example, if my creation has or had 8 minute intervening, it means I will disappear for 8 minutes and come. So even the speed of lightning is not enough to describe this instantaneous creation. There is no gap in creation. That's very important. And also, another expression, it says, in exactly the same way. Now, this is an interesting expression I found in the text. The creation of everything is taking place in exactly the same way. Exactly the same way. The order doesn't change. This is amazing. I found it very striking for my mind to think about. Why? Order doesn't change. And I expect things will be created exactly the same, like, how do you say, assembly line productions. The factory and the plan is set. And for example of a car, this is a car factory manufacturing cars. But at the same time, comes exactly the same car, because there is only one plan for it. Whereas in the creation, we don't see, although they come into existence, they are brought into existence in exactly the same way, but they are not exactly the same, like the previous ones. I can see this. For example, I see the order of the universe not changing. My renovation of my body, the way it is renewed, is not changing, but the production is changing. How do I know that? Not exactly the same. I am reproduced every instant. But when I look at my life, for example, 10 years ago, when I see my picture, yes, it looks like me. Yes, everybody goes, you are younger here. Yes, you are is there. You person is there. That is your personality, but you are not exactly the same in your body structure, in your spiritual growth, if you like. Although the spirit is the same, potentialities are the same, but the capacities change. Something I have learned anew. Of course, it is an addition to my capacity, and I have forgotten something. It is something deduced from my capacity when I forgot them. But what does it mean? It is very interesting. Whoever is creating the universe has not put the universe on automation. It means set the order and left it. No. Set the order, within the order, he always changes the productions. New program, new program, new program. How often? Very instantaneously, with no intervenes. But that is very interesting what I found in this paragraph. The rest is clear, and you made it clear. Thank you very much.
But how was that related to the to resurrection? Like if we understand or if we agree that okay, it's not an automated creation and there are no intervals in like every moment of creation, and things can happen instantaneously, um, and even though it's happening in exactly the same way, it's not the same exact thing. What does that tell us about the resurrection?
Good question. What is it to do with the resurrection? Because it gives us confidence that the one who is doing all these activities in the universe, whoever is doing it, is able to do everything, every single thing individually, treating them individually and within an unlimited time speed. So what does it mean? It is not an accident. It is not a gradual development, but the chains of accidental happenings. It is a conscious, deliberate action of the agent who is doing it, and this agent is ever present in his qualities, in his power, in his knowledge, in his mercy, in his arrangement, in his administering, controlling, every kind of actions. In everything at the same time. What does it mean? This agent who is doing it must be an absolute being. Nothing to do with this universe, this kind of this universe, any part of this universe. It is a completely unimaginable agent that is called God, the creator. So this creator, can you imagine, will ignore anything, will fail to do anything? Definitely he can realize the resurrection, definitely. And also he would not ignore human feelings that he created, that we desire eternal happiness. We desire eternal existence. This agent, the creator of the universe, will miss anything at all. How? What we see, how he is acting in this world. That is the guarantee for me that the one who created me will not leave me in non-existence. I think this somehow and may be helpful to get your answer.
Thank you. There is a comment from Monica saying, each time the mind who projects the program of the physical world projects in accordance to the will of God. Each time we resurrect closer to God. The final resurrection comes after we complete our return. So I sort of need to read this again to understand. Each time the mind who projects the program, you're talking about like my and your mind, right?
Yes. Also, the mind of humanity as species. So let's say when Ali was saying his comment, he used the word program or something like that. And so what appeared to me that like we have small resurrections each time we get a little bit closer to God. And it's also we experience it as resurrection too, or like growing of the spirit. So and this is very experiential. And it could be something as we do a good deed, we give someone charity, or we forgive someone their misdeed toward us. This each time with a good deed, which is experiencing the attribute of God, which is goodness, or even when we have courage to speak the truth, or in any way we act in accordance to God's will, which is his experiencing or progressing his attribute of goodness, truth, justice, charity, forgiveness, freedom, etc., beauty. Each time we experience growth of the spirit, and especially after we have forgiven someone, or we have decided to withdraw attack or withdraw criticism or judgment, each time we resurrect. And at the end of the world, the end of the world comes after all humanity is the human mind, the human species. We decide collectively to withdraw all acts of war and judgment, and at that time we return to God and complete an eternal peace. And that, I don't know how it's going to look like. I mean, some people believe it's going to be a physical resurrection of the world. I haven't thought about it. I think it could be something like, I just never thought about it, like a resurrection. The body will probably be changed, but the resurrected body will have different characteristics from the physical body. But I can only speculate. I never thought about it. That's how I think about it.
Thank you, and thank you for clarifying.
Thank you for listening to my words.
Farah, I see your hand raised. Go ahead.
This is not in relation to what Monica just shared, but I was moving around, so I hope I wanted to get the right understanding of what was being discussed earlier. That two reasons that appear to me as to that sort of to maybe negate, maybe refute, or maybe counter the idea that this is not an automated creation created once and then things are left programmed in such a way that, you know, they continue to behave according to that program. Two things that seem to counter this, as I understand, is one, it does not display the absoluteness of the creator, who must be present, and his will must be demonstrated at every moment and every occasion in time and process. So that's one understanding I got. And the other one was that it does not, if I get it correctly, it does not make it certain for a resurrection or quote unquote a renewal if things were, let's say, created once and then programmed to be left that way. So it doesn't give one the certainty that there will be a resurrection of a resurrection in any given moment. So if I just wanted to see if others captured this or not, or if they can refine it or correct it, that would be helpful.
Just so I understand you clearly, you're saying that the fact that it's not an automated creation, that does not assure you of the concept of resurrection. Is that, am I understanding you correctly?
Right, that's the second point, like that is somehow, which I'm not clear as to why exactly, but somehow it's not, does not display certainty as thinking about a creator who intervenes or acts in an ever-present form or in every moment or in every, if you think about every moment as being a very deliberate creation coming, as we talked about, instantaneously in the exact form, as opposed to thinking about it just being, not having, being sort of like, I don't know, just sort of like another step in the process rather than displaying all of these qualities at once. I might have missed something in the beginning because I was walking around, but yeah, sorry for any confusion.
No, not at all. Well, my understanding is, okay, if something is being remade, okay, if something was created once and then it's created again, and it's created in the same exact way, but it's not exactly it, you know? It's like, so the previous spring is not really like the next spring. However, they're both spring, and they both have the same features. So it indicates that it must be the same creator. But not everything about, you know, today's spring is the same exact thing as yesterday's spring. So my understanding, this, you know, demonstrates that, okay, this shows that whoever created last spring is still present, is still creating the next spring, and it's demonstrating that it has the same exact qualities, and it has the capacity to remake it over and over again with slight differences, you know, or with different expectations. It's as though the same thing is being created, so he can create the same exact thing, but not exactly it. Like, it's almost like whoever created last spring has the authority, the power, the wisdom to recreate spring, but in his own fashion, in his own design. He doesn't have to repeat the same exact design. So that for me reflected the idea that resurrection can happen so I can, my body can be remade in all of its possibilities. It could be me remade, as though I'm, as though illness has never touched that body, or as though I've never aged, or as though, oh, these are the two examples, sorry. But like, that's my understanding of it. That's why it's sort of proof that the body can be remade exactly the same way, but not in the exact same fashion, if that makes sense.
This last point is very important. Although the order is the same, it means it points that the one who has created last year's word is the same one who is creating this year's word. That is a large time span. But we understand that the same one is operating on the word, same agent. But at the same time, not exactly the same. That is very important for me because I found that this point is extremely important. If the resurrection is going to be the same way that I am now, what is the point in giving me death and making me again, since you are demonstrating it here that you can do it? My intelligence tells me that, my consciousness and my intelligence tell me that everything is meaningful in creation. So I have to think about the meaning. I have been given the ability to think about the meaning. When I think about the meaning of the creation, I understand that the Creator is demonstrating himself and his qualities and introducing himself to me as conscious being. I am aware of it. I become aware of the qualities of the Creator. The level of my awareness makes the quality, my quality of comprehension of my Creator higher and higher if I really become aware of the qualities of the Creator at a higher stage, going into the details of creation and seeing that the Creator has such and such qualities, and I have to act according to the manifestations of the Creator. That is something else that the prophets really demonstrate them in their lives, because their actions are performed in response to the manifested qualities of the Creator, so that the spirit, human spirit, it is a very important point. We really have to pay attention to this point. Human spirit corresponds to the qualities manifested, qualities of the Creator, manifest in this world and acknowledges them. Human spirit is a kind of tool to acknowledge the qualities of the Creator, and human free will is given the option to choose either act according to the qualities of the Creator or ignore it. That is why the difference, although every human spirit is the same, perfect, potentially everybody has the same perfect creation, but the result, according to my choice, changes. So the one who acknowledged the finest details of the qualities of the Creator and responded back to him needs another tool in physical form, because yes, the spirit acknowledges it, but cannot practice it. without the body. For example, my power of sight acknowledges that I need to see. But if I wasn't given the eye, the physical existence, body, I wouldn't be able to see. I wouldn't be able to practice it. That is why, in order to practice my level of consciousness, of my creator, I have to be given another body. That is why resurrection is needed. Otherwise, what shall I do if I am going to be the same as I was in this world, getting older and older and older, and becoming crippled in my existence, not being able to do anything? It's a horrible existence. It would be a horrible existence. But I understand that when I am about to lose every quality, I am taken away from this world. That's it. Your education period is completed. It means you graduated now. But how about the degree of the graduation? According to the degree of the graduation, I will be given a post, new creation, and my body will accompany the capacity of my spirit according to how I developed my perception of reality in this world. That is why resurrection is absolutely necessary for me as a conscious human being. I acknowledge, I understand this, and also completely a different tools that my spirit can operate through, because I'm not only spirit, neither am I only body. My spirit has huge capacity to acknowledge the reality, but my spirit without body cannot practice it. If I wasn't given the power of hearing, ears, I wouldn't be able to hear, although my spirit desires to hear. We have to understand that resurrection is not the resurrection of spirit. Spirit is of the type of law, principle. Spirit is not body, material. It is created, but in the form of as if law. Law is there. My typical example of the law, to make this case clear, for example, if certain amount of water is in a place where the heat of the air is below freezing degree, the law of freezing immediately starts acting with the will of the creator, and the water becomes concrete, ice, concrete ice. And if the temperature goes up above the freezing degree, I think 32, I'm familiar with centigrade, 0 centigrade. So 32, I think, it may be wrong, doesn't matter. 32 Fahrenheit, and then the law is there, principle of the order of the universe is there functioning, and the water starts what is the word? Melting, right? Now, law is there, but the functioning of the law needs material body. This human spirit is of the kind of law. We cannot describe it in terms of matter. So this law, if you like, human spirit, as the Quran says, Emir. Emir means really law, command of God. So this law functions only through matter in the right conditions. That is why material bodily resurrection is a must. inevitably must happen. Otherwise, my education in this world, after I get, I graduate from this world, which means after I am given death, it means out of schooling now, school of the universe. We are educated here. Then I have developed my capacity. I'm not going to be given the possibility or any way of practicing my new knowledge, new status. It's a waste of time. It is a waste. It means the creator of the universe is doing something meaningless. That is why we have to understand that resurrection must take place, and it is the bodily resurrection, not spiritual resurrection. Spirit doesn't die. Conditions change. When the right conditions comes, laws start operating. It is there. It doesn't die. When the water melts, it doesn't mean that the freezing and melting law has disappeared. That is what the key point we have to understand about resurrection. It is not, God created it. God is going to create again. Yes, that is correct, but it's a very simplistic way of understanding resurrection. We are sophisticated creatures, so we have to see the details, inshallah. Thank you. That is it, what I want to share with you.
Thank you. Monica, I saw your hand up. Thank you for waiting. Would you still like to add anything?
Oh, I don't know. Well, I previously I had a thought about just that just that, because Farah brought the point, like how is the guarantee of resurrection by the seemingly repetitious or miraculous or wonderful events like spring or timing or just the wonderful miraculous signs of our existence in this physicality. And then my point, I simply brought up that there is no, those two are not correlated, that the guarantee of the return of resurrection does not rely on the physical, on the signs of this world, but they are set in the nature of our relationship to God, and the simple understanding that God cannot miss anything that belongs to Him. So it cannot, because God is the creator and sustainer, eternal sustainer of everything. So just because, and that is the law of God, cannot be broken. And just because of that, the return to God and the resurrection being part of it, or part of the process of returning, or maybe I have not thought about resurrection. But that is guaranteed by the nature of the relationship we have, the creation to its creator, that eventually we will return to God. But the free choice we have is the time it takes for us to return or resurrect. That's we never know, because we do have free will, so it can take time. But the goal is set for us, predetermined, and cannot change. The return cannot change. Now, Ali, right now in this conversation, brought the point that the bodily resurrection is spirit, but I see it the other way around a little bit, in that, like, what would be the purpose of the physical? Because how I see being in the physical reality is like being asleep. Like, we don't fully function as spirit when we are in incarnation. It's only when we pass on to the afterwards, then we kind of like wake up in a little bit, like, oh, what happened? I just had a life. Wow. So, wow, let me see who I really am. And I think at the end of the world, the final judgment is going to be when all humanity is the spirit, as the Adam's soul, or the first soul, we reunite with each other, and then we wake up, or we resurrect as one. But I personally, I don't see it as like physical, because physical is projection. Physical is the dream or the illusion. It's not real. It's not really real. So when at the end of judgment, what would be the purpose of physical? I mean, we can still see ourselves as individuals. Maybe we will recreate all humanity from the beginning, from the first people who came. I can totally see it like a resurrection, but then I'm not quite sure it's going to be 100% in physical. Maybe it's something that, how I see it, is like a big party, like at the end of the world, everyone is going to resurrect who has ever lived, and people are going to be overjoyed. It's like it's going to be such a celebration, and because we're going to celebrate the return to God, as every human that has ever lived, everyone who has ever lived, at the end of time, when this world is going to disappear, we will resurrect as again, how I see it, as spirit, as some sort of entities with spirit, not with a body. But I don't know. I haven't. This is all points and are very interesting, and I enjoy listening to everyone's takes on it. Thank you for listening to me.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your understanding. And thank you everyone for your questions and asking to clarify. It always helps to keep reflecting and keep sharing on different understandings. Okay, I think we can move on to the next paragraph. Shalom. Okay. So now the author is sort of gonna start talking about how, the whole instantaneously phenomena, if we can call it a phenomena for now. So it says, yes, since this world is the realm of wisdom and the hereafter the realm of power, numerous divine names like all-wise, arranger, disposer, and nurturer, and dominical wisdom require that the creation of things in this world is gradual and in the course of time. I feel like I need to read it again. So yes, since this world is the realm of wisdom and the hereafter the realm of power, numerous divine names like all-wise, arranger, disposer, and nurturer, and dominical wisdom require that the creation of things in this world is gradual and in the course of time. In the hereafter, however, power and mercy will be manifested more than wisdom, and there being no need for matter, time, and waiting, things will be made instantaneously. So here the author is differentiating between this world and the hereafter. And he's saying, well, okay, this world, because things take time and it needs, it happens gradually, this reflects the qualities of wisdom and the divine names of all-wise, the arranger, the disposer, and nurturer. So in this world, we can easily see these divine names and see the quality of wisdom. But because in the hereafter, we don't need there's no necessity for matter or time or waiting, then the qualities that will be reflected in that creation will be power and mercy. I'll keep reading. Alluding to the fact that things which are made here in a day or in a year will be made in the hereafter in an instant or a flash. The Quran of Miraculous Exposition states, the command of the hour will be like the glance of the eye, or briefer. If you want to be certain about the occurrence of the resurrection of the dead, As you are about the arrival of next spring, study the 10th and 29th words carefully, which are about this. If you do not believe that, it will occur as you believe the coming of the spring, come and stick your finger in my eye. So he's just speaking with full confidence about his belief in the resurrection. All right. What do we see here, or what would you like us to pause on?
Actually, the fourth matter has a very short introduction and related to what we said in the last paragraph. So we can cover it and have a discussion on whole section.
Okay, sure. So the fourth matter, the death of the world and doomsday. The sudden collision with this globe, our guest house, at a dominical command of a planet or comet, would wipe out this dwelling place of ours. Like the destruction in a minute of a palace, the building of which had taken 10 years. So it's pretty short and straightforward. Again, he's sort of saying, in order to believe into the destruction or the death of the world, you can simply just reflect on the fact that that if a building has taken 10 years to build or a number of years to build, it can easily be destroyed, or the destruction doesn't take much time of it. Go ahead, Brother Ali. What do you see in these two paragraphs you read?
Well, this expression, this word, is the realm of wisdom, and the hereafter, the realm of power. It is very important to notice this. Why? First of all, these expressions are taken from the Quran. That is one side of it. But what we understand from it, let me give a simple example, which I appreciate our friends' struggle to understand this resurrection, which is not really deeply studied in the Muslim world. And especially nowadays, people don't study belief matters. They just mention about how to do this good actions, activities, and humanitarian works. And also some people heavily emphasize on the rulings of actions that we are expected to do, in order to practice religion on the practical side of it. So, but belief matters are not discussed widely and in details among the Muslim community nowadays. In olden days, yes, but they are really left behind. 1,000 years ago, the people were really vehemently, furiously arguing about belief matters. Now, everybody takes his belief or her belief for granted. That I am a Muslim, tell me what I should do. That's why the subject that we have been dealing here, for example, belief in resurrection, bodily resurrection. Resurrection is subject to the body, not the spirit. Spirit doesn't die. Because of the nature, it is created, but it is not created in a way that the spirit develops. Spirit doesn't develop. We discover it through our free will by using our consciousness, what is in us as a human being, what makes us a human being, our spirit. We have to uncover it. That's why we have to study. When we go to school, what happens? We take the first year, first semester, second year, gradually, we learn. After we learn, what happens? When we go to the world, to our life, out of school life, practical life, we now practice it. While we are practicing something, do you follow 4 years of education in order to practice your profession? No, you just do it. That is the wisdom that we understand. God is teaching us here, creating everything within order, with a wisdom, so that we will understand. For example, the sunlight cannot be the source of life. It is employed there. The bricks in the body of the house cannot be the builder. It is an ingredient used by the builder. It is employed there. So we have to see that the building is made up of bricks, but bricks cannot do it. That is how it is described here. This word is the word of wisdom, gradual creation, or the meta, or the material side of the things. But the meaning is always open to the qualities of its creator, which is absolute. So always, everywhere, we understand that absolute knowledge is manifesting, absolute power is manifesting. But the way it is manifesting takes gradually in order to teach us that the apparent causes cannot be the creator. So human intellect is triggered there. Come on, think, what can be the creator of this result? The matter, the brick, the sunlight, or the one who is employing them in order to create life, in order to create the house, example, building example. So which one? We need to go through stages. That's why this word is the word of wisdom, realm of wisdom. But after, however, we educated our qualities by uncovering what is in our spirit. Spirit doesn't die. That's what we have to understand. And although spirit is given the tools to acknowledge the creator, but spirit is created. This is also a very essential matter. Spirit doesn't exist by itself. It is created. It needs to be created. But it has a huge capacity because the creator is the absolute one. Must be the absolute one. That is how we realize that the creator is the absolute one, infinite one, cannot be compared with any created being. So spirit cannot return to the absolute. It is created. It is created. A created being cannot return by itself to the absolute. What it does, we are taken in creation, and we understand that our creation belongs to the creator. My consciousness becomes aware that I am from my creator, and I have to go back in my understanding, in my confirmation to my creator. That is why the Quran says, وَإِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ, you will be returned to him, means you will be working on the manifestations of the qualities of the creator so that you will become aware of his being your creator. That this is the process we are being educated here. We will be aware of who our source of existence is. That is returning back. That is my duty. Otherwise, everything belongs to God, the Creator. Nothing belongs to Him. What shall I do that I am returning back? I belong to Him. I don't belong to myself. That is obvious. That is why we need to concentrate on this reality that we cannot really become gods. We are created, our spirit is created even in the form of law, in the form of order of the creation, but this is still created. Created being cannot become the creator at all. Impossible. Creator is absolute. Created beings are limited. So we have to realize in our consciousness that we belong to God. We have to turn our existence to God. It means, yeah, I have to admit that I belong to my Creator. That is returning. Now, after becoming aware of our Creator as much as we can, then at this level, I have to be given material means. We have to understand that our spirit has the potentiality to smell, but without this material body of my nose and the system of my brain, I cannot smell, I cannot experience. That is why I need body to practice a new developed quality that I have acquired in the class, in the school, in school. So as much as I am educated, accordingly, I will be given tools, I will be equipped, I must be equipped with the material means that my spirit can experience the manifestations of the qualities of the Creator. This is an important matter to notice. Unfortunately, these kind of subjects are not discussed by the scholars of this time. Unfortunately, we are very poor in our belief training, belief education. We take the belief for granted. I believe that my spirit is created by God. My body is created by God. That's it. I believe I am a monotheist man. I believe in one God. I believe in the Creator. So entertain my life according to my own understanding of life. We don't really think about the real meaning of the creation, the purpose of the creation. There is no such training as I see in the world. Unfortunately, there might be some local, as we are here, some certain number of people. No one hears us apart from these people, you here in this room. There must be some other people as well, but worldwide, well known, I don't know any, unfortunately. That's why we have to concentrate on this aspect of revelation, belief. Wassalamu alaikum. I'm sorry, it is too late. I'm sorry. I think we have to end up here.
Thank you. If you can also close us with a dua.
Inshallah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inshallah, at 11 o'clock from now on, we will continue to have this class at 11 a.m. in the Eastern time, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka anta al-alim al-hakim. وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين بحرمة سر سورة الفاتحة.